We're Lee and Chris, and we're middle-aged, not dead. If you're new to the channel, thanks for tagging along with us on this journey called, well, middle-aged. It's a bit like being a teenager all over again, only with more aches and pains.
Hey guys, I'm Chris.
I'm Lee.
We're middle-aged, not dead.
Yep, and I'm already eating all the Christmas snacks. So on this one, this episode, which is one of our final ones of the year, going into like next year, like everybody, the reason this one's a bit late is we were going to do this about 3 weeks ago. Sorry, I was eating a...
You already started.
I know, man. I was eating a Christmas a cream. Anyway, we were going to do this about 3 weeks ago, and obviously, like everybody in the country, we ended up with the flu. The whole family had it, and I'll be honest, the last thing I wanted to do, and I have a sweet tooth that for all of England, was to basically eat a whole bunch of sweet cakes and candy and anything. I think in literally in the last few weeks, I've dropped nearly 10 pounds. That's how. Luckily, we weren't really ill. Anyway, enough of that. I think everybody had a little bit of it, and it's just one of those things now, isn't it, that you learn to live with.
So we just wanted to do, this is not a, you would have seen something similar all over YouTube, maybe a UK versus US snacks, what's better, something like that, some type of food comparison. So we thought we would, we've picked up a few UK festive treats, traditions that you would see, or maybe were more tradition, years ago, and then a few things that we were able to get for the US, mainly kind of candy or homemade things that that we've made, just to not necessarily do a comparison, but just to share and maybe a little bit of a backstory on some of these things or traditions in our own house. So some of these I do not like. Be very honest with you, but anyway, we're gonna go for it and try them.
There are some things in this that are a bit Marmite, in a sense that you either love them or you don't. And Christmas pudding is one of them. We're going to start with that.
Right. So that being said, we're going to start this.
Let's eat.
We'll dig in. So the first thing is Christmas. This is Christmas pudding. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail, but this is. I think that you probably would find that most people in this country don't, at this point, or younger people would not eat this. It is when you go to a Christmas party. It's on. Usually, it's a dessert that's offered on every menu, but you will. For me, worked in hospitality. It is the choice that most people do not choose. I was to say that. So, but yeah. So normally this is served. Now this is like with a brandy sauce or something.
There's many ways, but the tradition goes back, as many people will know. But we have a lot of family in America, and that's why, in fact, all of Chris's family is still over there, and some of my many friends who I made in 25 years, which is the other reason why we thought this would be a fun video to do, to explain. Here's an example, and we'll get to it down the road, but that made us think about this. We follow a couple of YouTubers. It's Tim Tracker, and Jen the wife had been given a box of mince pies, and on it, I think it said mincemeat pies, and it was sent to her, and she went, mincemeat? Ew, what is that? And so some of the traditions are weird, and they don't really transfer. That was the other thing, wasn't it? So we're starting off with Christmas pudding, and Christmas pudding is, as the Brits will know, especially the older Brits, is heavy on the fruit, and you can put in a lot of things like brandy to give it that extra taste. And my brother starts making his Christmas pudding, I think, in early November, and then
sometimes he takes it like couple of months or
yeah,
something.
There's a whole tradition, isn't there?
He feeds it, doesn't
he? Feeds
it,
it, yeah. And then he feeds me, which is really great. But one of the things you can do is, I suppose the technical term is to flambe it. You pour the brandy over, set it on the fire, and all the people in America right now are going, "What in the heck are you talking about?" And it's more of a tradition. I don't know if anybody knows. Please, again, we're happy to have the comments why we do that, because I don't think it adds to the cooking, but it certainly adds to the spectacle. And then probably the thing when I eat it most, we haven't done it with this, but is some sort of brandy sauce, which is like a white cream sauce, and then to put it on top. So
anyway, so dig in.
Oh, after you.
I'm gonna take. I haven't had this in quite a long time, so.
God. I do have to
It
say.
smells kind of like a mince pie to me. Maybe there's that inside looks a little bit more.
Yummy. Huh?
Okay.
Bottoms up.
It actually is not as bad as the first time I've had it because I didn't know. It does kind of taste like the filling of a mince pie.
A bit.
But you don't have the crust on the mince pie. But it kind of sits there a little bit.
Now I have to say,
I
have to say as well, this is a fairly inexpensive shop bought, and I won't say where we got it because that's not really fair. But it wasn't very expensive. I mean, this was like less than £2 essentially. But when I was looking in M&S, for instance, and we've got some stuff from M&S as well, because obviously. Again, for anybody in America watching, M&S is Marks and Spencer's, and I'm trying to think what you'd relate that to. Maybe on the East Coast, a smaller version of maybe a Wegmans. It's a higher end, but they don't have the selection that Wegmans has. But they're known for their food court. So I was looking in some of the stuff that they had, and you could, for a small Christmas pudding, you could spend £15 and not, bat an eye.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get a luxury one. So to be honest, that's not as bad as I was expecting, but I haven't had it in such a long time. So
we're not necessarily rating.
But I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it as a normal on my Christmas table.
On the top of your to-do list. I would give this a 9 out of 10. Not this particular Christmas pudding, but Christmas pudding, and the reason for that is the nostalgia. When growing up as a kid, especially at Christmas, obviously a lot has changed because we actually had pretty good Christmas school dinners at the time, and we would always have Christmas pudding, and my nan would make it, and so nostalgically it's very sentimental to me, and I do enjoy it, although like Chris said, I wouldn't eat a huge amount.
Right, so we're going to move on.
Okay, what's
next? I'm
next?
going to put this back. So I think if we do so this is a Yule log, or I think they call it a bush turtle. Now this is not, we have this in the U.S., I'm pretty sure as well, because I do remember working Christmas parties a long time ago in the U.S., and we actually used to serve this Yule log. It was it was a Christmas dessert, but I remember one Christmas party, the client wanted to have one of these on every table, and they would do the same type of thing, like flambe it. So it would be brought out by the chefs, and it was, on fire. But usually they're decorated. This one isn't decorated, but normally they have candied, different decorations on here. So like on a log. So you might have mistletoe or
some sort of a Santa Claus and a snowman and
the berries and things like that. So, but anyway, so this one isn't decorated. But so would be. I would say we would get this in the U.S. as well. But this is really going to be like a chocolate.
I would say this is almost more like a Swiss roll.
Yeah, it's kind of it usually has like kind of the sponge inside, and then it's got loads of chocolate here.
Yeah.
Man. I'm really gonna just try a bite. I know I'm gonna like it, but I'm only gonna try a bite because I cannot do all of these.
So one of the great traditions that we had in in America was when we lived in Washington D.C. We both worked in Washington D.C. And every year we would go to the Christmas tree. They had the main Christmas tree that they'd get there, and they also had 50.
This was at the White House, and they
Yeah,
would
this was
have the
outside
main
on the-
Christmas
yeah.
tree, but then they would have a tree for every state.
And then 2 for the at the time that weren't the states.
Well,
One was Puerto Rico at the time, wasn't it? I don't
Maybe,
think. But they'd have,
something.
and each one would be decorated differently. But they would have this enormous Yule log that they burn.
Yeah, they were burning that. Yeah.
Obviously, and that, to be honest, and this is a poor indictment for me. That was the first time I'd really heard of like Yule logs. You hear it in some of the Christmas carols, but that was like a huge thing, part of that lovely festival. Over here, one of our traditions, and we posted this in another video, was going for a walk through lights. We just recently went to one at Wimpole Hall. And so there's all those kind of traditions, and they have different things there, like hot chocolate and marshmallows, and that you can roast and all of that sort of thing. So this Yule log always reminds me of that experience, is what I'm trying to say.
Let's try and see. I'm sure this is good. So this again is bought in just a local store.
Wasn't this Tesco?
Yeah.
I think it's fine to say that because there's no criticism. It's, pound for pound, it's actually a pretty good product. I mean, it's like a big Swiss roll, and
Yeah, I mean it's good. The chocolate is good. It's you can't really go wrong with it.
No.
And you probably would you could probably put custard on it or whatever because you put a lot of custard on everything in this country. So, which I like custard as well. So it would be good to me as well.
all right, got to be careful here.
Yeah, I'm only gonna have like a bite. I cannot eat all of like.
What happens when we
everything.
run out of plates?
Well, you're gonna have to put it all on one plate because a lot of these things are just like some candy, and you're not really gonna need a plate for that. You're not gonna eat the whole thing.
I could, but we've got a long way to go.
I was gonna say.
Right.
So the next thing, we're gonna try something that is mainly in the U.S., which is more of like not candy. It's kind of a candy. So I don't know. We've always had Peeps, which are basically marshmallow treat, and we had these. We always had them at Easter, and they were like chicks. But then, as they normally do, they had it for different holidays, and so they started having them for Christmas. So we actually, for the first time, found these here in the UK, which I was shocked. So these are the Christmas trees, but we also had snowmen. I think they also had like Christmas stockings. So, and I love these. Always as a kid.
Is that more of a sentimental thing to you as well? I know.
Yeah, because I always remember them from being a little kid. So they started out with like when we'd have like our Easter baskets, and they were always in our Easter basket all the time. So I just something to remember from a child. And
for anybody who is in Great Britain, and for that matter in America, but in Great Britain, who has never heard of Peeps at all, the best we can say is what is it? Flumps.
But they have like different. I think at Christmas, although we didn't find them this year, but they normally have like some Christmas shapes and things like that.
Yeah.
But again, just marshmallow.
That's probably the nearest texture.
But I think these are different because they have a bit of like sugar on the outside.
So I can undo this for the what's its name.
I'm not gonna have my own. You can unless you want your own.
No, I'll share it. And we can.
So this is a little tree.
Yeah, and see, this is very, very traditional. Closer to the camera. Now it takes and goes out of focus. Watch. That's for anybody over. I mean, they're very similar in texture. This is a bit more spongy, I think, and
I don't think I've ever had. Let me just try. I never had one of these. I don't think.
see, a bit more chewy, isn't it?
I mean, that's mainly marshmallow. I mean, that's what it is. There's nothing else.
Yeah. But we had them at where I work, I'm a site manager for a school, and we just kill ourselves with food in the last month, and we have tables in the staff room, and that was one of the things that was big, and people were bringing in jars of them. And like Chris said, there were different shapes, and some of them were Christmas trees and all sorts of bits and pieces. So in that sense, very cool. See, I could tell right away when you bit into that, it just that was the flump was a bit more chewy. It's not
as dense as that one.
Yeah.
And it's sweeter.
This also has like a coating on the outside.
Yeah, it's got like a sugary. But I mean,
that's another thing.
again, it's a thing from my childhood. So I would probably, I will always like it. I can't honestly say that it's necessarily not amazing of a flavor or anything like that, but it's just for me. It's just
is that a
tradition.
Is that like a 9 for you as well, in the sense of
I'm not gonna
tradition?
rate them.
Oh man, coward.
But to me, I like I don't know. It's just a sentimental thing. So
It is. It's
for
good.
me.
It's also, and the same with anything like that, quite sickly if you were to eat more than I can do a pretty good job on sugar. I don't think I could eat more than one of those in a sitting.
I don't know how we're gonna get through all this.
Yeah, right away. So
Anyway, so
right,
what
what's
do you
next?
want? Do you want to try
Oh, look, there you
Christmas
go.
cookies?
Yeah, and some of the stuff that we make, and it varies a little bit. We basically we make a lot of cookies. My youngest daughter, she loves to bake, and so do I. So we kind of tend to put on between us about 20 pounds. So basically, what we did, and also the other thing we have. And I think I'm going to infill it, but I did a B-roll on this, not B-reel, because I think that's something else. My daughter's trying to convince me to understand what that is. No clue. But we've got Colin the Caterpillar, and Colin the Caterpillar is probably, I would say, in this country, the nearest thing to a Yule log in a way, in that same sense of it's a very similar.
I think it's a spongy thing. So the supermarket M&S, well, it's more than a supermarket, but the shop M&S, they, like Lee said, they have this Colin the Caterpillar cake that they've, had for years. And a lot of people will have it for birthday cakes or special occasions. And this year they came out with a Christmas Colin the Caterpillar cake.
Which looked amazing, can I say.
But we didn't get it because at that point I think they'd stopped. I think last orders were at a certain date. But we ended up getting like these sort of like Swiss rolls, Colin the Caterpillar Christmas
versions.
Yeah, so they're not they're certainly not what the main and the cake is. But anyway, but this is an idea of what it was, but it's quite a tradition.
See if I can hold this up without jerking it.
The Colin the Caterpillar itself is quite a tradition. So,
well, on here we've got a couple of store-bought, which is Colin the Caterpillar. We have a couple of sugar cookies, which are, I would say, translate between American and British.
Well, I think this is something that we always made when I was a kid, and like tradition in America, like our neighbors used to make cookies and they would bring a box over every Christmas, and we always had our favorite, but obviously we would all have like iced sugar cookies in our boxes, and so we made them when we came here. We continued to make them. We've changed the recipe a few times, but these are just traditional. And I'd say, of course, they have sugar cookies here in the UK, but I would say this type is much more American.
Yeah, it's like a shortbread, isn't it? I know we had the shortbread. It's what was I suppose shortbread. So we've adapted somewhere, I think, between the two. The other one that we do, which is one of our favourites, is basically an iced mint cream, yeah, with dipped in chocolate. And so basically what that is, it's a really, really simple recipe. If anybody's interested, we'll try and find links to some of these recipes, but what it does is, in effect, it goes back to a cookbook that we were given when we first got married. It's Betty Crocker, right? I think the Betty Crocker cookbook, and so a lot of these things are in that. And so what changes is some of the ingredients that you can get. You can get more of over here, but when I first came back and when I first went over there, the two sets of ingredients didn't quite translate. So I'd make things and go, that didn't work. And then I'd come back over here and I did the same thing for a little while, but I think more and more it's the same.
Mint creams, I think, tend to be around Christmas as well, where if you find families make these more, and they're quite easy to make. So you find like a lot of little kids will be making these it's like one of their first things that they make. So we'll try our Christmas cookies, which there you go, which is my favorite always.
Oh, right. 35 years of marriage, I did not necessarily know that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
I can, because I just didn't know that, so that's pretty much me going wrong right now.
I mean, they are labor intensive when you decorate them, but
Yum.
so good.
Yeah, they are really good. If anybody's interested in the recipe on this, I'll post that, because that one I can post. And I will post it in a link underneath. And somewhere we'll get there. Probably what I'll do on that is, because you can eat those year round. These we make year round. But at Christmas, obviously, we make the Christmas trees and then decorate them differently. But if I have to, I guess I could just put it on the website.
Yeah.
Somehow or other, photocopy it or whatever it is. I am going to try the Colin the Caterpillar, just because I never have.
I haven't either.
I know. So,
I mean, I'm guessing it's going to
Yeah.
be very much like this Yule log. Okay. Right, you need your fork.
after a while, it's just one lump of sugar after another. Sorry.
It's good.
Still getting over it a bit. Ooh, that's pretty
It's good.
solid.
I mean, it is very much like the Yule log, but it's a bit more, much more chocolatey, I'd say. Yeah, really good. And I think I did read about that there was like this particular Christmas cake was a bit more chocolatey even than the normal Colin the Caterpillar cake. So that's really good.
Wow. That is really good.
I'm sure. Well, who knows? We'll see if they do it again in 2025 for Christmas. So, but that was really good. I wanted to point out as well, we don't have any gingerbread here, but obviously gingerbread cookies is quite a big thing, I'd say, in the U.S. Here too, I think. But we didn't. Well, we don't normally make them, but we did. Our daughter, she likes to decorate a gingerbread house every year, and so I have to say we didn't make this from scratch.
Yeah, this is
a
Costco.
kit.
Yeah, this is a Costco kit.
But Paige put this together, and yeah, it's really cute. But we used it for like centerpiece for our Christmas table, but.
I'll do a closer up of that. And
Anyway,
but
we won't be eating that. But
interestingly, there was a kit that we bought from Costco every year, and it was good, and it was bigger than that. And this year they didn't have it, but what they had was that and a train, and we bought both. They came in the same pack, and I think it was only $9.99. So when you talk about value for money, and it is a really nice piece. We've had it on the table. By the time Christmas is over, it's not edible, I don't think, anymore. But yeah, it did turn out really, really well. So that's a tradition. We were members of Costco in America, where you don't need, all you need is a job, oddly enough, and proof of employment. Over here, you need particular criteria to become a member of Costco, and I worked there for a little while. Good company. I think you can look anywhere to find that out. So I've taken away a lot of the things that we couldn't at the time get anywhere else, actually. Some of the things that are quite American in Costco in that sense.
Right. So how about we'll do another. So now Mike and Ike's is not necessarily a Christmas treat. Obviously, this is an American candy. But we did find these Mike and Ike's, which are Christmas mix, which I think the flavor is. I'm sorry, I don't have holiday punch, cherry, and lime. But I like Mike and Ike's. Our son-in-law really likes them, so normally we buy them for his.
Chuck them in the stocking.
Or Santa gets it for his Christmas stocking. But I haven't tried these, so.
Yeah, as you can see, green and red, very Christmassy. They also have green and red M&Ms, which I searched for and couldn't find.
Those are good.
I suppose the nearest thing to, if over here if people are not sure in the UK, the nearest thing is a jelly bean, really.
To these?
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are American.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. But the nearest thing in like texture, like the flumps and the peeps, the texture was similar, and these are the nearest thing to this is really just like a jelly bean.
Yeah, I mean these are really good. I find
I like them.
they've got a really nice flavor. But yeah, I was happy to see that we can get Mike and Ike's here in the UK in quite a few places. But that's the first time I've seen like a Christmas flavor.
I think it's a foregone agreement that the chocolate is better over here. But I will say they've got things like Mike and Ike's that are more kind of unique in the taste, and I love M&Ms. They're good. Smarties are great. They're very different actually when you eat them. So anyway, okay.
Right.
So what I did for the Christmas cake is basically went to good old Tesco and got basically a fruit cake, and there's also a couple of mince pies there.
Well, it is a Christmas cake because it's got an icing on it.
Yeah, no, it is
not
Christmas
fruit in
cake. It's
there.
just not a false. People over here would know. So I don't know what we do in America because I can't remember now. But in Great Britain, especially when I was growing up as a kid, traditionally you would get the round Christmas cake, and it would be wrapped, and you'd have a snow scene on top, with a couple skating, or a Santa Claus, or a snowman, and all sorts of stuff that went into the decoration. And then underneath it would be the fruit cake, and then wrapped in marzipan, and then iced on top of that.
I don't really remember. I mean, like I said, I didn't really eat fruit cake. From what I remember, I feel like you could have had it in a tin. But I don't remember there being any marzipan or anything there was no icing on it from what I remember.
No.
And it was literally the cake and like with the fruit. But you would always see like the cherries
Right.
within that. So it's certainly not something that we would eat. I'm sure I've tried it before, but in America, fruit cake. But it certainly wasn't my favorite. So, but anyway, so I think this Christmas cake is probably better than a fruit cake. We wanted to get a fruit cake, but
To compare.
we really couldn't get like a proper.
I always experienced American fruitcakes as being a bit dry for some reason, and not, when I did try them, and I always experienced our Christmas cake, which is our fruit cake, being much more moist and. Yeah.
I just destroyed that.
Man, you really did it. I'll just eat it right
I
there.
forgot there was.
That's the best bit right there, the icing.
Yeah, but you have to try the rest. You can't just have the icing.
Well, you can have your cake and you don't have to eat it all.
Just like, oh my gosh.
So yeah. I mean, that's really good. Again, Tesco brand and not very expensive. I think it was Tesco, or was it?
I think so.
Yeah, it did. It's just a good staple. More, fruitcake.
It's a little bit dry, I'd say, but I'm saying it's a little bit dry.
I'm offended.
it's better than the Christmas pudding in my opinion. But it yeah, I mean it's not too bad. But I wouldn't eat it like you. Like it would.
The problem with these is
Lee would eat the whole thing. I mean, he definitely would, and that.
I'll be wandering through Tesco in July and I'll find the fruitcake with the icing on. That you can get the smaller ones. They're about this big, and I'll take one of those, thinking it'll last a few days. Gone in a couple of hours. Because and I'm even going to finish that bit off with the icing on it. So.
Oh my gosh!
The other one was mince pies. Now we do make our own mince pies, and there's a great recipe. On this one's an easy one. I won't post it because it's so easy to get to if you're interested. It's on the BBC Good Food. It's so simple. The pastry is so simple, and then you get good old. Well, you've got it over there.
Good old mincemeat. Well.
Yeah, this is the funny one. So if anybody in America is wondering about the mince pie thing, it says mincemeat. There's no meat in it anymore, and where we think this tradition of that terminology came from is many different things. I started to look it up because I was always under the impression that the fruits and spices were in there to dull the taste of the rotting meat, and this is back in Elizabethan times and medieval times.
That just makes you want to eat it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, man. when there was no refrigeration, and so they put that in to take away the bad taste of the, I don't say rotting, but meat that was a little beyond the sell-by date. Over the years, what's happened is they've taken out the meat altogether. Now, you said your grandma made mincemeat pies.
Well, but they didn't have. I'm pretty sure they didn't have meat, but they were called mincemeat pies, and it was a big pie. Like so, you have. Usually, you just have the little pies like that. She would make a big pie, so like my grandmother would make pies. She'd make almost everyone's favorite pie for like Christmas or Thanksgiving. And I can't remember, but I think someone in my family did like mincemeat pie, and she would make that. And I always thought, why would you be putting meat in a pie? I was like, what kind of pie is this? And so, but there wasn't meat in the pie. I mean, I'm sure it was basically the same thing like here. Like this is, it's got sultanas, currants, raisins. I think this has a bit of apple. So I'm sure that it didn't have meat in it, but it wasn't something. The name alone, for me was like, I can't eat that. And then when we came here, and again I was like, what kind of meat is in these mincemeat pies? I don't get it. But I've grown. I do like them. I really do like them. And Lee, the ones that Lee makes are amazing. So.
Thank you. I'll be here all day.
But anyway, so again, I know that I like mince pies.
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
You're gonna bring a. Again, I cannot eat the whole thing, so.
So this, if you can see it, this is the one that we make. And it actually came out almost a little too perfect this time, and I don't mean that in a congratulating myself way, but the baking tin was amazing, and it completely, nothing stuck to it whatsoever. And they came out a little bit flat. Normally, the nice thing about this is to make them a bit imperfect, I guess, and the pastry is just, it melts in your mouth, and if you heat it up and put a little bit of whipped cream on it, it's just absolutely incredible. So I'm going to chomp into that a little bit and sort of show the difference.
So it's quite sweet. I mean, it is very sweet. I mean, it's quite different from. I feel like the Christmas cake and the Christmas pudding has the same types of fruits, similar fruits, but obviously for this, it's not. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's just the fruit. That's the filling. It doesn't have like obviously the the cake or anything like that. It's just, and it has the crust on the outside. So I feel like it is much sweeter than the other two options. Yeah, I really like them. I mean, a lot of people will say, you know, younger people especially, that they don't necessarily like them, but I really
Yeah. Our son-in-law
grown
just
to
went,
love them.
but his loss.
Yeah,
Whew,
so.
we're nearly there.
But
We
yeah,
are nearly there.
I do like mince pies.
I have to say, part of me feels very guilty in a day and age when you know that people don't always have lots and lots for Christmas, especially kids, and that, you know. So here we are with this feast in front of us, and we do love Christmas, and it's very important to us. And we're not particularly religious. If people are who are watching this, I celebrate you. I'm envy of your faith, and that's not the way we particularly run our life. But Christmas is very, very special. It brings our whole family together, and it's for stuff like this, not just eating stuff, but the traditions and everything else. And I think that was why we thought about that this year with our fledgling YouTube channel. We thought, as I said, we pointed out earlier on, the channel isn't a sort of American versus English. There's many people who do it so much better than we do, and we love watching those guys. But obviously at times like this, it kind of makes sense that we share our traditions, and we have some different ones as well.
Yeah.
Right, we're nearly there. What do we got?
We do the mint creams.
Mint creams, yummy, absolutely one of my favorites. We
Yeah,
did
talked
mention
about that earlier, and we just
earlier on, yeah. And so this recipe is so simple while Chris indulges herself. Basically, it's icing sugar, half a lemon, an egg white, and that's the vast majority of it. And then you basically mix all that together until you end up with a pretty thick pastry texture, like dough at the end of it, if you like. And then you roll it out, and what we do is just get we've got a Christmas tree, which we did this year. We also have the traditional circles, and then you stick them in the refrigerator a couple of hours. These have been in for about a day. Take them out, melt some chocolate, dip them in the chocolate, put them back in the refrigerator. The chocolate will basically solidify quite quickly, and then you eat as many as you can, which for me is why I'm not. Could be I've already had one before we started.
They very much taste like, I mean, it does taste like peppermint patty, right?
Yes.
Or junior mints,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but obviously larger version of it. And
Yeah, I forgot to mention there, sorry, of course part of the recipe is peppermint extract. Otherwise it would be just icing sugar with lemon.
Yeah.
but I sort of overdo the peppermint. But yeah, there's a for those over in America, the peppermint patty, or like you say, the junior mints, it has that taste. These are probably a bit stronger, but that's just because I chuck more peppermint in. But well, this one I won't necessarily open and waste because this will keep well. But this is a Terry's Chocolate Orange. That's another one that's very traditional over here. We chuck them in the Christmas stockings, and most years everyone in the house gets one. And what's fun about this, maybe in another video I'll show you when I think I can eat the whole thing. For those back in America, I think I'm sure.
I think you can get them in America.
But what
Sure,
you do
probably.
is you unwrap it, and then the orange it's slices of the orange, and then you whack the orange on a hard surface, and that sort of splits the orange kind of goes boink like that, and then you take the slithers of chocolate out and eat them. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste that one, but that's one of my favorites. I think pretty much
I
everyone.
think you and Paige get them in your.
Yeah, but everyone in the house
Send me your
will. I
stocking.
know you don't eat. But
I will eat it, but it's not necessarily.
will destroy one. And
You guys really love them.
by the time Christmas Day is over, so is this. Here's one that's fun. While we're just going through some of the weird stuff. This is a Pez container, which is the good old traditional Mickey Mouse. Now, when Chris and I first got married, and we were living in the States, when we would send things over to my brother and his
For Christmas.
and his then little girl and the whole family then, and then when it became when we moved over here, they had two girls the same as us. we would buy these. But they, at the time, they were pretty unique. Now you can pretty much buy these anywhere.
Yeah, I don't
can't
think you could find them here in the UK. So
Yeah.
we would always send them, and we'd always put them in our stockings.
Yep.
But yeah, now we pretty much. I mean, you bought a bunch this year for people's stockings, but yeah, you can find them
Yeah.
in quite a few places now. So it's not unique anymore to the US. The last things we've got, we here in the UK, I don't know that they necessarily do them in the US, but they've taken US brands and turned them into, but these are selection boxes. So you have Reese's one, which obviously is going to be American brand, but still loved in this country. And then this is more of a traditional, like, UK brands, isn't it? Like this is Cadbury. But yeah, again, so I don't know if they full size. And then there's also there's an M&M one as well, which is I think it's a slightly smaller one. But again, I don't think they necessarily, at least for when we were in the US, they didn't have these. Maybe they have them now. But
No,
did they used to be full size
Yeah,
bars?
they did. See, when anybody who is closer to my age, you will know that Christmas in the UK, that selection boxes was like every kid's dream. I think you would get one at Christmas, and they would vary in size. A lot of them would have games inside. It was always the full size bar of chocolate. Wow, that's
These
amazing.
are a bit like.
Yeah. No, that's incredible.
This is quite a bit more.
I think the difference here is pretty much because it's Reese's, everything is peanut butter, which for me is great. I know some people kind of balk at that idea, but the difference with Cadbury's is there are all of the different variations of the actual chocolate bar. So yeah, like I said, over the years, as with everything, they've gotten smaller. And they're not as much fun, and the cardboard would be heavier, and you'd be able to open the box, and you'd have snakes and ladders inside, and you'd have all quizzes on the back, and all sorts of stuff. Haven't actually.
Have you looked at those?
No, there's just nothing.
And
All
there's
there is.
nothing in there.
Yeah, all there is on the back is all of the things, the ingredients that are in it. Brilliant. So there's my childhood shot to hell right there.
Did you want to try the Reese's Christmas tree?
We can go on. I'll share it with you.
These are my favorite.
Oh right.
I mean, we all love Reese's peanut butter cups in this house.
Well, Papa
except for Jordan. Jordan
Yeah.
does not like peanuts, anything to do with peanuts. So, yeah. So, again, this is something that we would have had traditionally in the U.S., which can't say that I've been able to find these this year, except for in this selection box.
Yeah, normally
which
you can
is-
find
Normally
those.
we have found
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Well,
Go on.
can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong with the Reese's peanut butter tree. Or anything to do with Reese's
Peanut butter
peanut
and
butter.
chocolate.
You cannot
sounds
go
alike.
wrong. Last thing I just wanted to, and I don't know if Advent calendars in the U.S. I don't necessarily know is as big. I mean, I think you have Advent calendars, but I don't know if it's necessarily as big a thing. But maybe it is now. But we get Advent calendar. We have an Advent calendar that's like a Christmas ornament that we put chocolate in every year. So we have it for the family. But then they also sell these individual Advent calendars in the shops. And again, usually there's chocolate. I haven't actually opened all of mine. I mean, there's 24 boxes, which I still probably, I think I'm only on the 15th. So I haven't finished mine.
Bring on the new year.
But yeah, obviously these are, really big tradition here in this country. So we have our main one for the house, and then we each were given an Advent calendar like this, and then we ended up getting Paige like a separate one as well, which was actually not chocolate, which was quite fun for her.
Yeah,
But-
it was the Gilmore Girls, which I know she loved, but for me there was just nothing
There was no
inside
chocolate.
it. Yeah, there was no chocolate. So I don't get it.
But anyway,
No, I do.
but yeah, so this is, I mean, we just wanted to kind of share, some favorite festive treats and traditions from this country, what we could do for the US, because there were a lot of things that we wanted to have for the US as well, but unfortunately we weren't able to get it. So we wanted to be able to share a few of those as well, and some traditions, and kind of where they came from, and how we share them in our house. But yeah.
That's sort of us, I think, on that one. It's been a great year. We're in 2025. Can you believe that?
Soon will be 2025.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We're actually
matter of hours.
we're finishing this off just at the end of 2024. Like I said, apologies, and the reason it's we're
Little bit
doing this
late.
one at all is we, like everybody in the country, we were kind of a bit sick over Christmas, and so where we would have done it, hopefully we should have really wanted to do it like 3 weeks ago. It just never really happened. We didn't really want to waste the food, and we thought that it was a fun type of tradition anyway between the two of us. So do hope you'll keep watching. Going into the new year, like and subscribe if there's anything here you want. There's going to be for want of a better term, a slightly more serious side to the channel, not overly, but we are going to start doing a podcast. I've just got to put that together, where hopefully we'll be having a laugh about being middle-aged. I say middle-aged is just like being a teenager, only with a few more aches and pains. But there are things that change, and we do want to have that as well as the silly, fun stuff that we, hope to get up to. So I hope you guys have a fantastic new year. Thanks for following us so far. It's been really encouraging. A lot of the feedback that we've been getting, and like I said,
Yeah, thanks so much for watching us, and for sticking with us, and Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2025.
yep. See you
Thanks
soon.
so much. Bye.